This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
Heather, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be interesting. So I was thinking, instead of doing a traditional back and forth interview, we sort of start with this reading and we use that as a way to get into what you're doing, how you're doing it, all of that sort of thing.
Okay, we can do that.
So, what's up with Heidi? If we shave her head, will we see the mark of the beast? What can you tell us?
Well, yes and no, but no. So I went through, because you can do individual numerology charts just for one person, and then you can take 2 or more charts and kind of look at them and how they intertwine and all that, and find out where there's synergy, find out where people might kind of trip each other up. And so...
So our show is just 2 separate circles on opposite ends of the paper, pretty much?
It's, well, no, yes. Opposite ends of the paper. So you guys, what's interesting is your charts are very intertwined, the 2 of you. So, yeah, very, very intertwined. So I can definitely, I don't know the history of how you guys started working together, but you can definitely see that there's a reason that you're working together. It's right here in the chart. And what's really cool is that you both have different gifts, and your gift number is your superpower. And they're both internal, so they're both the lower numbers. And Heidi, your gift is actually one of Luke's challenge numbers in the challenge position. And Luke, your gift number is one that Heidi has in a challenge area. So it's really cool because then you guys can kind of tune into yourselves.
So let's talk about Heidi's challenges. Is there a lot? There's a lot, right?
There are a lot.
Well,
I freely admit there are a lot.
Yeah, and they're the same amount as Luke's. So no.
Agree to disagree.
Well, let's actually, okay, we'll start with Luke's superpower. That's in a position.
Invisibility.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, and so you're a gift 4, and so am I. We were born the same year, so I'm a gift 4 as well.
Sure.
And so you're probably super heart-centered. You can make balanced decisions pretty quickly, I would say, if you wanted to. I mean, really, really quick. You can see both sides of an issue without really judging either side. So just kind of from that witnessing perspective almost. And you're probably a pretty stable person. So if you think of like a foundation of a house or the base of a pyramid where it's really solid and stable, that's a strength of yours. And you have gut feelings about stuff, and they're usually pretty right. So I don't know how much you tap into intuition or how much you believe in, going with your gut, etc. But you've definitely got that natural talent, and you're usually pretty right about your gut instinct on things.
Okay, so any sort of stomach stapling, lap bands type surgery I shouldn't do. I should not small in my gut. I should keep that the size it is right now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, but your intuition actually doesn't have to be in your belly. So, it's more heart-centered. So you're kind of up here. So I think as long as you don't have any band surgery on your heart, should be okay.
Okay.
Well, the Tin Man after all.
Yeah. How'd you get into this? How did you figure out what's wrong with me?
Well, I figured out what's wrong with you and all the rest of us. I'm a high school teacher, so obviously it's a natural kind of transition into numerology, right?
It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, well, I've loved numbers a lot for probably ever, numbers and words. So I was an accountant before I went back to school to be a high school teacher. I teach computer science and business classes like accounting. And then I loved numbers, loved words, always. So it was kind of a natural to sort of go into this realm once I started a few years ago, I just wanted to change kind of the way I perceive things. Just noticing myself getting stuck in patterns of behaviors or thoughts that I just didn't really want to deal with anymore. I just wanted to kind of put some more consciousness into just the way I was as a human being. So I went through some training, and it helped me so much with my thoughts, my patterns, my beliefs, my decisions, my actions, the whole gamut. It just helped me to be such a much more conscious person that I then decided to get certified to do the same thing for other people. And so part of that kind of consciousness creator type coaching, numerology is one of the pieces of that you can really utilize in order to help people kind of step into their true gifts, work on their challenges, reconnect kind of on that soul level a lot more. So it just helps you to understand things from a really natural numbers perspective, and I love it.
So you said I am a 4 and you are a 4. That is out of what? And who makes that designation that this is what 4 means and this is it 4 out of 4? It's 4 out of 4, right?
It's 4 out of 11.
Oh, sorry.
But it's not a fraction. It's not a percentage. Everybody has 10 energy bodies that kind of come outward from one being in the very center, and then it goes out, to externally, ending with 10. And so each number is each energy body, and each number carries with it a specific energy. So depending, when you do the math on what numbers are in different positions in your chart, that is kind of where the energy of the numbers and how they play into the position that they're in your chart. So your superpower being a 4 means that you're a gift 4, and that's just how the numbers worked out based on your date of birth.
Okay. So let's go figure out what's wrong with Heidi.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you totally hightailed the whole, took over the whole thing and weren't even going to get to talk about me.
Oh no, we're getting back. Please.
We're circling
This
back.
show is nothing if not getting back to talking about you.
It's true.
So what's really cool is that since Luke's kind of superpower is something that's in more of a challenge area for Heidi, Luke is kind of can be used as someone to look to kind of strengthen that number, and it's that's done on a subconscious level. It's not like you're sitting there taking notes and those kind of things. It's just very subtle.
No, I'm holding this joint together. Let's just.
Oh, no,
say
you
that
are.
outright.
But
the
in fairness, I do admit that all the time. I never deny that.
That's your superpower.
I can acknowledge that you're holding the ship together. Thanks.
Okay, so Heidi's superpower, her gift number is a 3. And Luke, that's one of your challenge numbers. So in this aspect, Heidi's kind of gift is something that you can kind of look to model in order to build up or strengthen your challenge area. So strong threes tend to find humor in everything, in every situation. Typically, so I would say Heidi sees the best in people, even when that's really challenging to do. You have fire in your belly that kind of fuels your creativity. Strong threes are normally very, very creative, very passionate. And the more you step in your superpower, then, and same thing goes with Luke, then the more that the other one can kind of rise above the challenge. So, artist, are you really artistic, Heidi?
I'm a great appreciator of art, but I'm a theatrical.
Okay. Yeah. Creative type.
You're theatrical.
Yeah. So that's
Yes.
definitely strength of yours. And so that's kind of where we're at with where you guys sort of can help each other, where you're kind of opposites. But you also have a couple positions in your chart that you have the same number in the same position. So what's really interesting about that, I mean, it's so intertwined. It's crazy how many of your numbers, like the lines, I had to start making little squares and triangles and circles and like squigglies to kind of make all the connections, which is super
Red
cool.
string, or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Squigglies.
cat was all over it.
Oh, yes. It really means, I mean, it means that you guys are just meant to be, you know, having this co-hosting relationship for sure.
Do you hear that, iTunes? We're stuck. Now, Heidi's heartburn, how does that
I don't have
affect the show and help it? Oh,
I
heart
have
fire.
passion.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
heart fire. That's shorthand for passion?
She said passion.
Yeah, we got that. Okay.
If it's getting where it can cause burnout, then that becomes a bit problematic. I don't know if that would show up as heartburn for you per
Okay.
se, but you know, a lot of us, that's kind of, we all get that fire in our belly, and it kind of fuels us to like, let's go, let's do this, let's go. It's kind of our power center. But people with challenge 3s can sometimes get, like, they're so fueled up that it kind of causes some burnout.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe heartburn kind of does kind of align with that.
Yeah. All right. So 3s and 4s.
3s and 4s.
And then where are these alignments? Where do these things cross?
So the inner stuff, that's a 3 and 4. You guys
Right.
have a 9 and a 10 in the same areas. And they're also in, well, one's a challenge, a second challenge number, and the other one's your path number. You guys, actually all 3 of us have the same path number, path 9s. It just so happens that's how the math worked out.
So where are we headed with a 9?
So where you're headed is that sometimes if the 10 starts taking over, 10 is divine masculine, 9 is divine feminine. But since the masculine is in kind of a challenge area, if you start noticing that you guys start bringing out more of like the hustle in each other, like, okay, go, 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 hustle, 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 focused on kind of the end game, then you can sort of take a step back, take a breath, kind of go a little more internal, realize that you can be enjoying. So the 9, the divine feminine, is more of like ease, grace, flow, enjoying the process, enjoying the journey. And to keep you from getting too attached to the end game. And since both of your gifts, your superpowers, are the lower numbers, the more internal ones, then you can always, always, always go back to going inward and bringing even more self-expression to your work. So as both of you do that individually, it's going to be a big part of, and already is, obviously, from your previous podcast shows, it's going to be a big part of your appeal as co-hosts to your audience, because it's just a beautiful pairing, and the superpowers being really internal. When you continue to express that in your work, it just will attract the peoples just naturally.
So I've been told, by the way, that I have 9 hands. So if we are working and pushing hard as the 9s. Yes, Heidi?
Like a horse? Like, what do you mean 9
No,
hands?
very feminine hands.
So how tall you
Oh,
are?
9 is in feminine hands.
Oh,
Sorry.
I thought,
Yeah, we both missed
We
that.
both,
So
yeah.
No, just very feminine, small hands.
okay.
Smells like cabbage. Now, if we are pushing and hustling, do we go
don't.
up to a 10?
That's not indicative of a 9. Because we don't
If we
smell
are
like
pushing and
cabbage.
hustling, do we go up to a
No.
9, do we go up to a 10, or do we stay at the 9?
If you're in hustle mode too much, it means you're playing out your karma. So the 10 for both of you is in the karma position in your chart. So there's the soul position is where you guys have the 3 and the 4. That's one of the challenge numbers. The karma position is also a challenge, and that's where both of you have the 10 at, the divine masculine. So if you're in your karma and kind of playing it out, that's when you may notice that you're kind of in more of a hustle mode, or you're too focused on like, gotta get this done, this is the end game. So then it's just kind of taking deep breath, because breath work is always great for everybody. Take a deep breath, kind of pause and say, okay, enjoying the journey as well as, focusing on the end game. So kind of having a little more of the balance between the masculine and the feminine and making the masculine a little more divine will definitely help. So just something to look out for, especially since it's a challenge for both of you.
I feel like that makes sense because I feel like every time we get too crazy about we want to make it work, and we need to make it work when we want to, but every time we get too much on that path, we do kind of we never lose the fun of it. We always keep it, but it does sometimes if we just say, well, let's see what happens, and good things sometimes come to us.
That's totally something a 3 would say.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you have spiritual barcodes, so you would actually really your all of your numbers together are your spiritual barcode. So Heidi would be 410 439, and Luke would be 310 549. So
And so
if you want to get that printed on a T-shirt, my spiritual barcode is meh.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I like it.
So how do we use some of these numbers going forward, or how do you do it? How do you encourage your, do you call them clients? Do you call them, I don't know what the correct kind of term of that relationship. And how often do these numbers change too?
Never, because it's based on your date of birth. So your whole life, it's kind of spiritual barcode that you carry with you. So normally when I do a report, I calculate the numbers and then I explain to them what each of the positions means, the 5 positions: soul, karma, destiny, gift, and path. And then I give kind of an energetic prescription of ways that they can step further into their gift, and then ways that they can strengthen their challenges and kind of work through some of that to get more soul connected. So the real goal, I think, for all of us especially, is to just feel more connected with who we really are as individuals, as human beings, on that real soul basic level. And it's just a way to unlock that kind of connection, and where it's just in black and white and you don't have to kind of guess at it. It's really helpful too for people to find their purpose and their passion in life. Sometimes just hearing what your gift number is or what your superpower is enables you then to think you know what? Actually I am pretty good at that. Let me, it just kind of gives them permission to step further into it, which is really, really cool. I wanna try to incorporate that even with the kiddos somehow, letting them, without doing numerology, but just letting them and allowing them to know what their kind of superpower is, or just kind of hinting at us certain things in just general conversation, and then seeing where that leads them and how that allows them to kind of step into something that naturally they just do effortlessly, and kind of makes for a more fulfilling life.
That's awesome. Did we touch on our destiny number?
Nope, not yet. But we can.
I'm worried now.
No, destiny is good. It's one of your strengths. So you have the 2 challenges, the soul and the karma. And then you have the destiny and the gift, and then you have the path. So path is kind of one of those that's sometimes a challenge, sometimes a strength. It's that thing you kind of walk through life with. But the destiny is your second strength number. And it's something you've kind of, if you believe in past lives, it would be something that you achieved very well in a past life. And so you just get to rely on it completely in this one. So it's something you can tap into at any point in time in order to create success in your life. So actually, Heidi, even though you're a soul 4, which is a challenge, you're also a destiny 4. So, and then Luke, you're a gift 4. So it's even more intertwined than I kind of even explained at the beginning. But since you have the soul and the destiny, you're kind of, what that means, the same number, you're destined to kind of heal that relationship with your soul self. Not that you just have this horrible relationship with your soul self. That's not what it means. What it means is you'll be able to, because you have that destiny 4 and that soul 4, you'll use your destiny and move towards it, and in the process kind of reconnect more and more with that most inner soul part of yourself. And then, Luke, you're a Destiny 5. So you and I actually have our Destiny gift and path numbers are all the same, 549.
Okay.
So you're a Destiny 5, which means that you're probably really destined to be a really good teacher, really good mentor, coach, explain things really well, eloquent speaker. So,
Yeah, I don't know how that explains the show, but okay.
So yeah, Destiny or Strength 5s are usually really, really good speakers, and they're really good at not only communication from that point of view, but also from the point of view where you can teach, you can explain to somebody else, or you can coach, mentor, those kind of things. That's kind of, your destiny. So you've obviously already kind of stepped into that destiny because you're doing this. So yeah, that's
I'm trying to teach Heidi how to
Exactly.
act.
how to behave. How to behave.
How to behave.
How to behave. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
not-
So how does this all, when you're out and interacting with people and you haven't looked at their numbers yet, is it, given the amount of time that you've been doing this, is it where you're just like, oh, this person's a total 5, and this is why we are not jibing, or this is why we are working well together for you personally? Have you seen that? Can you read that on people pretty quickly, and then when you ask them later, when's your birthday, that all kind of matches up?
A little bit sometimes. So I assume that a lot of teachers, because I'm a high school teacher. I'm pointing that way,
Right.
like that explains everything. I'm a high school teacher. Yeah.
That works.
So I assume that a lot of teachers that I work with have a 5 in a strength area in their chart because they're teachers.
How long has this idea of the numerology been around? Where are the origins from this? Is this something it seems like a very Egyptian, ancient type thing. Is that true?
Yes, there are different versions of numerology. The numerology that I practice is based on tantric numerology, and that's based on the ancient
Sting.
gurus in India. Way back, historically. So there were 10 gurus, hence the 10 different energy bodies and the 10 numbers. And so each guru represented a specific energy, and then that energy is carried with a number, and that's where we got to where we're at.
How did you determine that that was the practice you wanted to follow as opposed to other versions of it?
Once I started learning about the consciousness creator coaching, like the back side of it, so I went through the program on the front end as a client, and then once I started learning about all the nuances and the ins and outs of the different steps that are kind of involved in the consciousness training, there were different divination type tools that you could use: astrology, numerology, I think palmistry was one of them. So since I'm such a numbers geek, the numbers one just really jumped out at me. And then doing the studying, taking the notes, doing charts, doing more charts, reading more about the energy bodies, and then, because each one of those is numbered, and how that connects with numerology, it just all aligned really, really nicely for me. And it just is how my brain works. So my brain works in numbers a lot, numbers and words. So it just made sense.
And now you, taking our numbers and going through them, and then kind of figuring out, here are your strengths and here are your weaknesses. Can that be used to look forward, or is this solely just a sort of personal diagnosis tool that then helps you be that much more informed going forward in your life? Or can you sort of read the stars in this form?
You can, with the energetic prescription, that can be used and used and used and used for the rest of your life. How much you step into each, so how much you step into your gift, how much you work towards your destiny, how much you pay off your karmic debt, so to speak, how much you heal your relationship with your soul self, and kind of some of those core beliefs. That's all based on just the energetic prescription and working with the knowledge that you have to then strengthen, pay off debt till you get to a point where you're still going to be on your path. You still have the energy of these numbers, but when you reach that real kind of inner happiness that's why we named the high school club what we did. Not that we're doing it based on numerology, but kind of it all comes together. So inner happiness and just being really content with who you are and showing up completely authentically as yourself, being really conscious. The numbers really, really help with that, because I can sometimes, if I find myself being really judgmental or, something where I can stop and be like, ooh, okay. So it kind of makes you kind of pause and look at things from a much more conscious perspective, and then sort of come with a different attitude towards things. And so I've noticed it really, really helps me on a daily basis with just reminding me that I am much more conscious than I used to be. And I have these strengths, and I'm just going to choose to step into them. And it's helped me to not have, step into my regrets like I used to, fall into patterns, like we tend to do, have bad days. Like that all just starts kind of melting away. Obviously, you still have struggles and life happens and those kind of things, but it's so much easier to get to that much more conscious state of being just overall. And so it's been life-changing for me. It's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. I love it.
So the numbers don't change. It's how you address the numbers is the thing that is important in this.
Yeah.
And is there a particular, as you're searching for inner happiness, is there a particular one that you should focus on first? Because they all seem equally important.
Yeah, they are, because you have 5 different positions and where the numbers sit, it's sort of like they're not really standalones. You kind of have to look at it as a bigger picture. But definitely the superpower, since it's just something natural, you can kind of just step into that and let that be kind of your guiding light. And then just knowing the trip ups with your challenges, your challenge numbers, it can kind of say like, whoa, okay, wait a minute, I'm playing out my karma, like I'm getting too focused on this, or I'm being a little too much this. Let me rein it in, do breath work, rely on my gift numbers a little bit more, or my destiny number, kind of step into that. So it's how they all play out, all 5 of the numbers. But I would say definitely the gift one is a nice one to just be like, yeah, this is me, and I'm a rock star. So it's kind of gives you that little oomph.
I got that one down.
Yeah, no doubt.
I use my, even in my pricing of things, I'll use my gift number, my destiny number, and my path number in like prices and stuff. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. And I'm 45 this year, so that's kind of nice because it's my destiny and my gift number. So I'm like, let's do this.
So for listeners who want to do this, does this normally happen just by them sending you their information? Do you meet with them in person? How does that usually work?
Normally, I do the chart with the energetic prescription, and then and kind of usually give a little blurb, like maybe a few minute little verbal kind of note. Just, hey, this is what this means, this is what this means, kind of a little extra other than the write-up. So the write-up is like a PDF, 5, 6, 7 pages, and then a little blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes people choose to have a half hour, an hour session afterwards where we just really deep dive and just go, just dig into each one. And that would be a phone call, a Zoom call. I've done it on a walk, like around the block before, with neighbors and stuff.
That's what we're going to do with Bob Seeger.
Yeah, what we can do is say, hey, Bob, hey, Mr. Seeger.
Right.
We would like to read your numerology chart.
See?
Care to have a chat about it on a walk?
I like
Yeah,
it.
we were
I think
just
this
doing
is a
some
good
night
plan.
moves, and
Right.
you're like a rock. Like a rock is what number? That's a 1, right?
That's probably a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, or depending on the shape of the rock, because if it's a square one, that's that solid. Ooh, oh no, that's somebody else.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I went to Solid as a Rock too, but yeah, no.
Okay. Interesting. Heather is offering a really cool 50% off discount to all of our listeners if you book with her using the code Y. You can sign up and learn more at her website, heatherschram.com.
You can follow us on all the various socials. Our website is whythepodcast.com and has all sorts of additional stories and videos. It's also where you can sign up for our newsletter. We're also on YouTube if you're into that kind of thing. And don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, because if you don't, we'll call your mother and tell her that she's completely right. You would look so much prettier if you smiled more.
Why the Podcast is part of Mudhouse Media. Today's show was produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our graphic designer is Samantha Mustonen. The theme song was performed by the Electrosynth-O-Magnetic Polyphonic Orchestra. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?